As the Marvels continues to crash and burn at the box office, one thing we've consistently heard from everybody involved with that film and Marvel Studios, it might not be made for you. We made it for these people, and if you don't like it, well, we don't need you to come see our movie. Well, fans were perfectly fine not going to see that. However, there's a different movie that's out right now that has had a completely and totally different approach, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's. This is a movie that I have not played any of the video games for. Five Nights at Freddy's video game franchise with a very, very passionate fan base. And it shocked everybody when it took a $20 million budget and not only had a massive opening weekend, setting records for horror movies, but also has now hit $250 million globally. When it's all said and done, Five Nights at Freddy's might end up outgrossing the Marvels, despite the fact that it has a $20 million budget versus the Marvels over $300 million. And one of the most interesting things about the entire situation has been the way that all the production team, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, how they have responded to the fans and talked about the fans. Five Nights at Freddy's game creator responds to movie's $152 million success with Long Post. This was obviously last week or a couple weeks ago before it continued to get to $250 million. Five Nights at Freddy's game creator Scott Cawthon comments on the movie's blockbuster opening weekend and his experience attending various showings. He literally went to different showings and talked about how awesome the fans were there, how it was so cool to see fans feel so rewarded over something that they had been so dedicated to. And then Matthew Lillard, who actually you might recognize him from other stuff in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, he played a role in this movie as well. And he talked about how his kids went nuts. He didn't realize what a big fan base this had. And then specifically had a few things to say about who they made this movie for. This is from the interviewer. I went into it cold. I knew it was based on a game, but I didn't know anything other than that. Finding out you were the villain is a fun twist for people not familiar with the game. It's really interesting. Jason Blum said multiple times, this is a movie that is built for the fans. I think he's right. They weren't that concerned with whether other people liked the movie. I think they were right with the idea of like, hey man, this movie isn't for everyone. This movie is for this fan base, and we're going to bet that they're going to come out and support it. Their bet was 100% on the mark, and I think they did a great job appealing to that community in an authentic way. The difference between this and the way they approached the Marvels is that they looked at their fan base and they said, we're going to make a movie for the fan base. We're not going to make a movie for people that we want to be fans. We're not going to make a movie for this population or transgender black people in wheelchairs who are also deaf, right? We're not just going to try to do something to appeal to these people that we want to become part of our fan base. They did it for the people that are pre-existing fans that are out there. The vast majority of fans, that's who they made this for. And you know what? Even if you did want to do something that was more targeted towards a niche audience, if you did it with a $20 million budget, you could have massive success, just like we've seen with Five Nights at Freddy's, if you just do something for your fan base. But when your strategy, when your attitude, when you make a $300 million blockbuster is to ignore the core fan base, make something that is not for them and tell them that if you don't like this, you're just a racist, you're just a homophobic, you're just a bigot, you just hate women. Well, guess what? You might find yourself with a multi-$100 million failure, while Five Nights at Freddy's has already made its money back and way, way more. And when you look at profit margins, is going to end up being one of the biggest successes that we've seen this year. This is a massive win, and it's because they focused on the fans instead of pushing them away.